In the world of Hollywood, movies get greenlit and redlit. They get remade and rebooted. But we are the ideal. I'm Sam Gasch, and you are listening to Ideal Remake. All right, guys, welcome to this episode of Ideal Remake. We were just chatting normally, and then I made it superficial, so I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm sorry that you did that thing and made it superficial.
It's all right. Introduce yourselves. Let's have people know whose voice is saying what.
Oh, fantastic. From the internet, from the hit band The Double Clicks, from several podcasts, it's Angela M. Weber. That's me. Hi, everybody.
Hi, I didn't prepare where I'm from, but
okay.
New York and Connecticut.
Excellent.
Meredith Hackman.
Oh, excellent.
So, Angela and Meredith, I met you two back in, I guess technically at the end of December, but really in January when we were working for the final successful run, the closing number of the Sunday sketch series at iOS.
Correct.
We did. We closed it out.
And we did so good. It was such a good team.
I was impressed by us.
We were the best.
We were.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone should know that.
Yeah. The best people ever at a now-defunct theater.
It will live on in our memories.
That's true. And also it will probably become a club of some sort.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the bar's all set up. It's ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Angela's doing her own mic work.
I was going to turn down my headphones, and then I realized I may mess everything up if I do that, so I'm not going.
You're just so confident pressing buttons, man.
Yeah.
Angela does her own podcasts and knows how to do these things.
Yeah, totally.
I don't.
I just wanted to make it a real podcast where we talk about the headphones and the buttons on the table.
Yeah. That's how podcasts work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So let's talk about The Matrix.
Yeah.
Superficiality. So
I'm so mad that
Speaking
we have to remake the Matrix because I know I picked it and then I watched it and I was like, I don't want to remake this. It's a good movie.
I kind of had that same problem too.
Yeah.
The reason The Matrix was on the list is because it's one of those movies that there's kind of talk that they're going to redo it.
Oh, no.
I don't remember who was attached to it. If I'd been smart, I'd have looked it up ahead of time. But there is talk that they're going to be remaking The Matrix. And I kind of filed this the same way I filed Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Maybe don't remake this movie.
Yeah.
I disagree. I
Ooh.
fundamentally
I'm so
disagree.
excited.
I rewatching it, I was just like, you know what? I think it is more relevant now than it was when it was released.
That's true.
And furthermore, I assume that like preteens won't be wearing as many long leather coats when it's remade, so it won't like trouble me at the time.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
Is it
was
because you couldn't connect to the long-coated people?
No, it's because I connected to them too well.
Oh, all right. That's
So I was
fair.
like, I'm spending all my time with long leather coated men, gentlemen,
Yeah.
13-year-old gentlemen.
I saw a long leather-coated person in LA for like the first time in a long time the other day.
Because The Matrix is just on everybody's tongues.
It's on everybody's mind these
Also,
days.
it's a desert, and you shouldn't wear those here.
No.
Right.
It was,
I grew up in Tucson, Arizona, so long coats weren't really on the menu.
But you did it anyway?
No.
Oh,
Did you wear shiny clothes once you'd earned them?
right.
By proving yourself?
I never really earned them.
Oh, okay.
How do you prove yourself in Tucson, Arizona? Is there like a fight club situation?
Based on when I originally saw this movie and what we were doing at the time, it was by being really good at GoldenEye 007 on the N64.
Ooh, that's a good thing to do. Yeah. Those guys wear hats.
So, what was the first time you saw this movie? Because you've both seen this movie before.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We had the box set of the DVDs, but it came out in 2000, right? That was the...
1999.
Yeah, but it was like probably on DVD in
Yeah.
2000.
Well,
but
it
it was
wasn't
kind of the 2000 movie, I feel like. It was
Yeah.
like the...
Because it wasn't a financial success when it was in theaters, but it became successful once it went out on DVD.
Really?
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe that's why my relationship to this movie is so bizarre, because I feel like I saw 2 and 3 before seeing 1, which
Oh.
really colored the way I
Wow.
saw 1.
Yeah.
Because in my brain, I just been thinking about 3, and then I watched 1, and I was like, oh, none of that happened originally. So yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's so different. That's
Yeah.
so,
So different.
interesting. Yeah, I think my dad had the DVD and we watched it in my home.
I definitely saw 1 first, but I owned 2 and 3 first.
Yeah.
And then got rid of them because I'm perfectly happy striking 2 and 3 from the record.
Yeah. I was discussing that with my husband when we watched this. It's like, it's so much better than 2 and 3. But like, and there was some interesting stuff. Like, especially when you watch the first one and you see how they planted stuff for the later movies. I don't know.
there are a lot of good ideas that
Yeah.
just get executed and just get. I think their budget was too high.
Yeah.
And so part of what I find so interesting about the first one is like what they make do with where they kind of like squirrel away the money.
Yeah.
Because do you guys know the story of like the original budget for what The Matrix was going to be?
Tell us,
I can't say I know about the original budget, Sam.
So I don't know what it actually was, but what the Wachowskis did.
Wait, you set up, do you want to know about the original budget? And then you said, I don't know.
Well, the actual number doesn't matter. But what they did was they used that budget to shoot that entire opening sequence with Trinity, where she's on the phone and they do the things
That's
where
a
she
good
leaps in
opening
the air and
sequence.
they spin
Yeah.
around her. Basically, all of that leading up to the truck driving through the phone booth. And they used the budget that had been allotted to them for an entire movie for just that 3-4 minute sequence.
Oh wow.
I don't think you're supposed to do that.
They basically did that anyway, and then said, "Here's what we want to do. More money, please."
Mm.
I mean, that's it's a good sequence.
Yeah,
It's a ballsy move. I think that, like, that's the way you get more money, right? You're
Yeah.
like,
it's
get
gone.
done. Yeah, it's done.
Confident.
Do you want the rest of this movie?
We're gonna do something you ain't never thought of. I mean, because it's called, like, every time it's been made fun of, it's like the Matrix move, where like someone freezes midair and the camera rotates
Yeah.
and everything's happening.
Yeah,
Which
we know what the Matrix move is, Sam.
Bullet time.
But it takes like what 15 cameras to do that?
Yeah.
Does it really?
Yeah.
I thought it was just one guy running around real fast. No?
It's like on a little slider. I remember we had the Matrix Revisited, which is the making of the Matrix documentary.
Whoa.
God.
I haven't watched it in 20 years or however long ago this movie came out. I guess 10 years. But like they have the bullet time, like it's like a little green screen little circular booth and they have a camera and it like shoots around the little
Wow.
yeah, it's
That's
cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
19 years.
If it came out in 2000, yeah, 18.
Yeah,
years.
but I
90
probably
minutes.
had that
18
I
years.
watched that after the third one came out, so
Oh, got it. The
let's do math.
Ugh.
A comment as a listener of the podcast, I was listening to it and I was wondering if you sped it up, but there is just a high energy where everyone talks really fast while recording this podcast.
and also sometimes I speed it up a little bit.
Really?
Well, when
it's a little bit stressful to listen to. It's like everyone's talking so quick.
I like
My-
the feedback, on the podcast during the podcast. I think that's
Yeah.
good.
Well, I was just noticing how fast Sam
What else
talks.
could Sam improve about the podcast?
well,
I don't
when-
think it's bad.
When we
I
were making the podcast, Mike very much believed it should fit within an hour.
yeah.
Oh,
I never believed that as much, but
Yeah.
and so because of that, we might come in at like an hour 5, and so we'd speed it up by
spit it up,
5.
spit it up,
Spit it up.
spit it up.
Sam's a high energy person, though.
Yeah, he is a high energy
So,
person.
but that's the problem because I naturally talk so fast. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, it seems crazy.
But you're
I'm
also
gonna talk
like
really slow to emphasize how quickly you talk.
You're an actively chill person.
I'm really not, but something about being around the two of you is really chilling me out.
I'm
like,
so
good.
sorry.
It's good.
Great.
It's
Am I
the-
at Sam's level?
It's the M&Ms with Meredith's face on them.
yeah.
I give it M&Ms with my face on them so people would remember.
I like that you don't mention that it also has your fiance's face.
I
on
did
them.
mention my fiance's face on it, but the podcast
Not when you
listeners at
pitched
home,
it to me.
Oh, I didn't. I pitched it to them. And then we were about to start the podcast. I didn't have time to mention my fiance's face. Figured you'd notice there were two faces and be like, "Well, I'm meeting some dude too."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's good. I love it.
yeah. Tangents.
Sorry. That's not what your podcast is, and I know it, and I'm sorry.
Well, speaking of what my podcast is,
Yeah.
The Matrix is one of those movies that's so heavily in its time, and it's
Yeah.
so influenced everything that's come after it, that I kind of had the same problem of watching
Yeah.
it. Let's say they remake this movie. How do you do that again?
I'm ready to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it is challenging because there are so many movies that are so influenced by The Matrix. Like making The Matrix, if you made The Matrix for the first time after Ready Player One came out, like
Right.
it would be just like weird and bad.
But don't you think that we're more prepared to create, like, I don't know, interesting artistic, like, dynamics made with technology?
Yeah,
I think
then
we
we-
are.
But how do you, like, you're saying, how do you make such a change?
Well,
in
the
system
Matrix.
like you did
Part
with
of what makes the
original?
Matrix the part of what makes the Matrix is the fact the entire Act 1 of the movie The Matrix is them going, "What's the Matrix?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what the Matrix is? We know what the Matrix is." And so that entire Act 1 is gone if you're remaking the movie. You basically have to start with, so there's a Matrix. Cool, got it. Let's move on.
We all already are so prepared for The Matrix right now. I think that people weren't as much, so when it came out, it was more of a big deal.
I don't know. When I was rewatching it, I was just like, I want to hear more about these people batteries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that. They just kind of like mention that people are batteries now, and then they're like moving on.
Mm-hmm.
No, did I watch the wrong movie?
No,
Oh,
you
you
were
did.
watching the right
Okay.
movie.
I really like that you're up for remaking it. I think it's going to make for an interesting podcast.
I agree.
Well, I mean, when you chimed in and said this is what you wanted to do, I could tell we had opposing
I know. I'm so
mindsets. But yeah, I want to hear more of this backstory. I want to understand more of this AI world, and like, I don't necessarily need to know how they got there.
Yeah.
But what are they fighting against? What's the purpose of the Matrix, and like, is it actually a negative thing, which is something they grapple with in the movie, but I think something that needs to be explored more for me personally.
Yeah.
I was like, I need less of this, like, you know, pretentious talk about like what the world is. I get it. I get what the Matrix is already.
Mm-hmm.
I need more of like the why. Like, why is this a battle that's going on?
So then my question to you is, most of the movie as it is now is spent inside the Matrix.
Right.
We're kind of in the Nebuchadnezzar, which is their ship, which is a fun name, even though no one ever remembers that's the name of their ship. I certainly don't.
wrote it down
Nice.
so that I'd remember. I
Crazy.
was like, oh yeah, the Nebuchadnezzar.
And but for the remake, Meredith, are you suggesting that you want to spend more time in the quote real world?
Yeah.
In the background
Cool.
of it.
And in
That's
the
the
background of it.
sequels. Veto.
Whoa. I'm talking about the background.
Yeah,
real
no,
world.
I like the background idea.
Yeah.
I like that because I think especially now we're getting closer to where that future
Right.
more than the peak of human civilization in 1999, which I think we are past, and I don't think the Matrix would be made set in 2018.
No, it's made in
No.
1999 still.
It's still
It's still
it's
1999.
still
So that's my next
1999.
question. Do you want this movie set in the 90s?
Yes.
Or do you want a 1990s kind of like punk, black jacket, black sunglasses, or do you want kind of like a retro futurist, like 50s era futurism?
That's my question when I was watching this, is like, when we remake this movie, are there smartphones?
That's a good question. One of the big things in the movie is they have those phones. There's this big thing where Neo pulls the cell phone out and he pushes the button, it
It's so fun.
slides open, and we just like, okay, sure.
The tidbit that my husband provided while watching this movie is that apparently they made those phones, but they never released them in the U.S. because they had too much radiation or something.
Oh man.
Ugh, the U.S. is so rude, not
Yeah.
allowing radiation phones.
They're too dangerous.
But like, I thought that the technology that freaked me out the most, in a way that I was like, oh, this feels old, was when they were removing the bug from his body.
Yeah.
And they bring out like a giant like pyramid and place it on his chest. I was like, if there was a mechanical bug in his body, they'd be like,
That scene still freaks me out.
I love that.
really?
I mean, the
Yeah.
fact
It
that
was
the
cool.
bug is that big
Yeah.
is old. Now it's all nanobites are infesting the
Right.
whatever. And yeah, but that scene where they have to have this
Yeah.
giant, massive contraption, that's super freaky.
It's crazy. Yeah.
They
But
don't need it anymore.
But I'd
it's
love to
super
know
freaky.
what the version of that is right now. Like, and if it's all taking place in the 90s, can we do a version of it that still is big, that still is strange?
Well, they're not tracking him in the real world like now, where you
Right.
could they're tracking him as a piece of code inside the Matrix.
Right.
So I think they could still need like a giant ass thing
Yeah.
to like track him
And
in
if
the
they-
code world.
And
Science.
if we do
Science.
use nanobites, though, like nanobites are in the
Nanobots,
system.
right.
Nanobots, excuse me, you're correct.
Thank you.
But I want to use nanobites, which is just like a tiny little bite.
Just latched on. But if he is infested with nanobots,
Mhm.
that means that they would have to completely flush his system to
Right.
get them out.
Ugh, yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
creepy and weird, and also super gross.
That could also be on the other side when they're taking all the little plugs out of
Yeah.
them. They could be smaller plugs now.
It's true. It could just be a single like dongle.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it would be like an iPhone.
Yeah. Just one of the little
Mac
fire
Yeah.
No.
kids today.
No.
No.
Because that's the freakiest part of the movie for me,
I
when they're
love that.
pulling that crap out of their head. That really
Yeah.
upsets me.
Super gross. But we also don't have landlines. We don't have payphones or
Yeah.
things that they can go
Yeah.
use. Here's my pitch for what we could do in place of that.
Okay.
If we're doing it, because I actually didn't think we should put it back in the 90s.
Oh, yeah?
I was
Okay.
thinking like a little bit more in the future.
Yeah.
But if they have all these plugs and we're dealing with the world as it is now, they're not going to have. They're going to have a cell phone. They're going to have the world that we have.
Yeah.
I think it's more interesting if they have to get to a particular area because that's where a Wi-Fi field has been enabled. And basically, as they enter the Wi-Fi field, instead of them getting sucked up into a phone, they dissolve into the Wi-Fi because that's the code being projected in the area.
But what are the varying ways in which they could affect the Wi-Fi code? Because the thing about the phone is, like, if you shoot off the receiver, suddenly you can't like be transported through the phone. So how do you affect the Wi-Fi like that in multiple ways?
Get the transponder.
But also, like, they wouldn't have to call and be like, "Oh, where's the Wi-Fi field?"
Well, they do, because what I'm suggesting is that there are specific places where they have to go. Like, they have to get to a hotspot, let's say. Like, they can make calls to wherever, but they can't, because they have a phone with them the whole time, but they still need to get to a specific phone.
Interesting.
So now they would need to get to a specific spot, zone, whatever. Something.
I'm on board.
My pitch for the reason why I think this
like
movie...
a Bluetooth field, like a local Bluetooth, not like a Wi-Fi.
Just like one chick, like some chick named Barbara, wherever her hotspot is.
Yeah, they have to airdrop
themselves. They have to get to the
Matrix.
Boingo hotspot. And so my pitch was basically, especially when I was doing my casting, I was trying a little bit to kind of avoid the sort of like Hollywood pretty people.
Yeah.
Because that's not really what this movie is. This movie is a little bit more the movie Hackers. Extreme.
Yeah.
Because the people who are escaping the Matrix are the people who are so good at hacking, so good at like computers and figuring out the world that they broke the world and found the cracks in the computer generated world.
Yeah.
And I still think that that's possibly true. Like, it gets to the point where people are getting so good with computers that they are creating their own, like, people are creating their own little mini matrices within the Matrix, and they're like, wait, they're seeing similarities between their own world and the greater world, and that's how they're being able to realize. I still think it should be computer programmers as superheroes,
Of course.
but
at .coms, yeah,
indeed, instead of our weird dot matrix wake up Neo.
Yeah. I think the tricky part about it is, why would the people in if they made the Matrix, why would they make it in a year where people are already suspicious of technology? Like,
Fair.
Right now, everyone would and is suspicious that we're living in a simulation.
right.
There was something in some other movie, I don't remember what it was, but maybe the fact that we're suspicious of technology and suspicious of the simulation is the effect of these people who've escaped, and they keep plugging that in. They keep making us suspicious of technology. Like, the fact that we're suspicious of technology is because we're subtly getting hints that we should be suspicious of technology.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Elon Musk is Morpheus.
Right. So it's a distraction to be like, you are right. These things you're seeing are like, it's the overwhelming news. It's media fatigue. So it's like, if you get enough information that like technology is taking over, there is something to be suspicious about, then you won't notice the real problems. Is that what you were saying?
A little bit.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I wonder if it would be like a creepy introduction of the movie if like the very beginning was basically our world, but people aren't suspicious of technology, and then you're, as the viewer, you're like, why does nobody care about this?
Just have like a bunch of people who are super accepting of all, like they
They
have the Alexa, they have the Google Home, they have
right.
Like Blade Runner, I guess they all. Isn't that the one where everybody has chips and everybody's fine with it basically until they're a criminal?
That's Futurama.
Yeah, I don't remember that Blade Runner.
No, wait, what am I thinking of? Fifth Element.
You're right. That makes more sense.
All the same.
It's the same.
Yeah, Black Mirror, like every episode.
Every episode of Black Mirror. But yeah, and then we realized that it's like right before now.
But right, like if
because the
AI is
Matrix.
going to create a world for us, then wouldn't it be a world where we're like, AI is amazing?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Here's my next pitch then, because The Matrix is one of those not one of the first, but it's one of the kind of iconic tentpole movies of a post-singularity world. And if you're not familiar with the concept of the singularity, it's AI gets so good that they're able to make their own AI better than the thing that was making it. So AI is able to
They're able to
replicate.
make a shot-by-shot remake of the film AI.
Correct.
Yeah.
With the Sixth Sense kid.
Yeah.
Just keeps it going.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that computers get so good at making computers that computers are able to make computers that are better than the computer itself making the computer, and that keeps going to the point where computers are so intelligent that they win. Like, they're so intelligent that we can never keep up. Like, it's a singularity because they've become so powerful that we're no longer able to even conceive of the intelligence that they possess. Battlestar Galactica, Matrix, these sorts of things, like, it's artificial intelligence to the nth degree.
Which is why
Please.
I think that this movie is saying it's kind of a nicety to turn these people into batteries and let them live their lives where they think that they're great instead of having to deal with.
And that's what Cypher is that the bad
Yeah,
guy? That's
Cypher.
his argument is
Right.
that like this is fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
great.
agree with Cypher.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, and-
here's my pitch.
Okay.
My pitch is it's the illusion of a post-singularity world and not actually a post-singularity world. I think if you want to make it even more relevant to today, basically they spend the entire movie fighting the concept of AIs who are so smart and now they've made this world. I find it interesting if it's like the 1% who get to have their super world kind of powered by the 99%. They've kind of put the 99% in a position where they can't fight back. They make human batteries so that the human battery world can kind of support the.
So are the 1% also living in a simulation, but it's super dope, or are they living in?
I think that they are a little bit more like the people in Ready Player One who can go in and out and kind of they have a super dope world because they basically are able to monopolize all the world's resources and do whatever they want with it. Everyone else has just become a resource.
Gotcha.
They have control over so much of the rest of the resources that we have to become batteries in order to even get a taste of the resources.
Interesting. Okay, I also have a.
Please.
I'm arguing a politically relevant pitch. My
so in.
pitch is that men are tired of not being in charge anymore and like support a world, like electively choose to go into a world where they once again retain power.
Oh yeah, they like restart. Well, I mean, it's very Handmaid's Tale.
Very Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
But like restart in a way where like, it's not quite Handmaid's Tale.
So then what happens to women?
Right.
Women are existing in this world. In my brain, it's still 1999 or whatever.
Yeah.
So the men wanted to create a world where they were still in charge, so they literally created a world where they were in charge and then forced women into that world as well?
Yeah.
So then your entire cast is women.
Maybe.
I mean, you can.
Is it actually though?
A lot of it is.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Ghostbusters, man.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, that's part of the reason why I recommended you guys listen to the Princess Bride episode because we
Yeah.
definitely do that in the Princess Bride
Oh,
episode.
cool. All right, awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think, Angela?
I don't know. I feel good. I'm happy. I'm excited to be here. I like the idea of a. I mean, that's such a big change about it's like more of a. It's interesting if we're people putting other people into a simulation or putting all people into a simulation. It's interesting because there are definitely benefits to being in a simulation, but I don't know if it's like. I don't know if it.
I kind of see
would
it as
pan
more
out
of
the way that you're describing.
Yeah, I kind of see it more as an ignorance is bliss. Like you get the people, you literally have people fighting to stay in the Matrix just because they're like, this is great, we're taken care of. We don't need to have the things. It's fine to let these other people rule us because we have ours.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the ultimate
Like Samuel Jackson in
Snakes on a Plane.
Django Unchained.
Snakes on a Plane.
Plane.
Yeah, man. He was always talking about the singularity on Snakes on a Plane.
But I mean more the kind of character he played in Django Unchained where it's like the slave who supported the slave system.
Yeah, because there's always that idea of whether just, I mean, that's an extreme example that doesn't fit into what I'm about to say, but like whether it's okay to be happy in a world where you aren't free.
Yeah.
Because the other thing that the Matrix provides that I think is interesting is that people's minds determine what they look like, which is kind of great. But then the way that flips around is that people get to choose their own names when they're in the real world, and they don't get to do that in the Matrix. That was just something that, like, when I was thinking about this.
Their
movie.
hacker name. They
Yeah,
do
their
that in
hacker
Hackers too.
My name is Neo.
Yeah.
Not Thomas Anderson.
It's a very 90s like when you're it's
Oh,
your
yeah.
screen name thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like what Mystique's moment in X-Men First
Right,
Class
right.
where she's like, let's all have team names.
That's
Great
true.
moment.
But like the idea that you can visually you can decide what you look like in a world is kind of neat for
I agree.
a lot of people.
Right.
I would
That's
think.
part of what is compelling about the world of Ready Player One. You basically get
right.
to choose the sort of person you want to be.
Yeah.
But then it's like, what is freedom? I mean, it's what you're saying.
yeah, and I think that's what what the Matrix is about than
And
about choosing the simulation you're in.
Yeah, and I think that is what our argument needs to be if we remake this, because that's kind of the core essence of what the movie is.
Right.
And we just kind of have to apply it to our modern sensibilities as opposed to sensibilities from the 90s where that could be solved by getting the golden gun and making sure no one was playing his odd job.
I'm willing to give up my pitch as long as I can still cast a bunch of chicks.
Well, then let's get into it.
I don't think anybody's gonna fight you on chicks.
Don't fight
Absolutely
me on
not.
chicks.
So let's
Because that's my main problem with this movie, which I think is probably yours as well, is just like more women who don't die, and this movie's perfect.
yeah. I'm for it.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's start big. Who's your Neo?
Got Zoe Kravitz.
I don't know who that is.
Did you say that too?
No, but
Oh.
that doesn't surprise me that you said Zoe Kravitz.
Tell me who Zoe.
Okay, I just seem like the kind of person who supports
No,
Zoe
it's
Kravitz.
just
Tell me who Zoe Kravitz is.
Okay, obviously a Kravitz.
Yeah.
Lisa Bonet's daughter. She's been in many movies, big blockbusters, but most recently Big Little Lies was one of the.
Was she the person who introduced Donald Glover on SNL?
Oof, I don't know.
I don't know who anybody is.
She's someone who has been in has been in everything that's large, but hasn't herself been in the front of anything. Mm-hmm. And I think a reboot is a great opportunity for someone who's obviously proven themselves to step in front of everything.
I think that's good too, because obviously not Keanu Reeves, but a lot of the people in this movie didn't have like a whole lot of baggage going into it.
Right.
So I like that. I just don't.
I mean, there's really
know who
only
that person
5
is.
characters in this movie.
Yeah,
I
there's,
cast a lot more than that.
There's
but,
like nobody in this movie. Yeah.
But here, I watched Cracked.com, and one of the things they talk about was that Neo is kind of the representation for the audience. Like, he's kind of has this dumb face on the entire time because we as the audience don't understand the world that he's experiencing for the first time too. And so he kind of needs to have that kind of blank.
Yeah, he has to be very blank.
The avatar for the audience. What's the actual term? The making comics. Doesn't matter. It's a
Yeah.
real thing. Look it up.
I
It's
know
worth
what
your
you're
time.
talking about, but
Totally.
I refuse to help you by thinking.
Yeah, thinking
that's fair.
sucks, man. Here's Zoe Kravitz.
So is Zoe Kravitz the sort of person who would be a good representation for the audience?
She's got. I feel like whenever I see her, I feel like she's smarter than me.
Okay, so tell
Not
us.
me. I don't think she's smarter than me.
Okay.
Okay.
But do you think she's smarter than me?
All right, Angela, tell us who you had.
I have a lot of options. My favorite one is Mackenzie Davis, who's the girl from San Junipero.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which
great
is-
option.
Which is thematically relevant.
Yeah,
she was
that's
also
true.
in The Martian. I don't know if you.
Who is she in The Martian?
She was like the mission control
Okay.
person. And my other option is Elizabeth Olsen, because that was the most generic person I could think
That
of.
is a good
Interesting.
generic human.
Yeah. She's just like, you could
And I
make
like
make
Elizabeth
her,
Olsen.
I
She's
could
a very
imagine her
talented
saying,
actress.
whoa, and being like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my token man, I just made a lot of lists. My token man was Sebastian Stan.
My token man, because I had to have one, was a.
We don't need a token man. I'm perfectly happy
Oh,
making
Yeah.
Neo a
But
lady.
I want to know who it was.
It was Cole Sprouse.
Oh my god.
Right, that'd be cute, right?
So cute.
I don't know who that is.
He's Jughead in Riverdale.
Oh, okay.
I saw him once walking down the street. He was very tall.
Was he?
Yeah, he has
Oh,
great
he'd be so
hair.
great hair. That was my thought. I would be like, he can flip that hair.
Hold
Yeah.
on to that name for a bit because I want to come back to that actor for one of the other roles.
Great.
Yeah.
But for me, the actor I cast is Santino Fontana. Have you guys watched Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about him.
Who is he?
Yeah.
He's the guy who was in love with the girl. So she's in love with Josh Chan. He's in love with her. He's a bartender.
He's no longer on the show.
Okay, he's no longer on the show.
He was also
Oh,
the voice
he was
of...
the guy in first season.
Yes.
He's also from Frozen.
Yeah.
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 Real talent. Are you saying we should make The Matrix a musical? Because I would support that.
Well,
I'm
no, but
so in.
I picked him because he's attractive, but not necessarily like
Oh.
the most attractive person, but also because you're making this for an audience today. A lot of the people that,
Yeah.
a lot of the sort of action movies that we see now and kind of expect, they kind of tend to have like a little bit of a wry sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like he'd be able to both be
Yeah.
in awe of a world while also being able to crack a joke about the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I thought he'd be a good choice.
Interesting.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is a boring white guy.
He is a super boring white
But
guy.
he's got that going for. But I don't know.
That's part of why I picked him because
Yeah,
he's a super
well,
boring
that's
white guy.
what you have to be in this. Like, he has no personality and no reason for Trinity to fall in love with him.
None.
No reason at all. But also, I was wondering about age in this movie.
Do
'cause-
we need to have Trinity fall in love with him just as a separate
Yeah.
side note?
I think I don't mind it. if there are other people in the movie who don't fall in like that. It's definitely a like he's here to save us, everybody loves him movie, which is interesting and it not necessary, but I don't.
That aspect of Ready Player One though is why I didn't like Ready Player One. Everyone else did, but
I don't have as much of a problem with it as I did with Ready Player One. I think because it's got this whole fate thing tied into it that it feels like a legend, like the story because of the Oracle and all of it just feels like a retelling of any sort of heroic journey kind of story, and I don't mind there being a romance that kind of threads through it.
I don't necessarily mind if it's like if there's a romance, but I would think it's more interesting if Neo being Neo, him being the one, allows Trinity to do like Trinity's awesome, but Neo being around allows her to be slightly even more like she wasn't able to do something, and then Neo is able to get her to actually do it.
Yeah,
like she's never able to make the jump. Like everyone falls in the first time. Yeah, she's never able to do that jump. But then he's around and all of a sudden she can. It's like, you'll know because you'll be able to do this. Like, you will all of a sudden be better.
But, like, what is love?
Baby,
don't hurt me.
There is, well, yeah, because that's what the Trinity, what is it, Trinity syndrome is? That, like, it's like the Bechdel test or whatever, but it's like everybody is super competent and a guy who comes in and tries it for the first time is better than everybody.
Right.
And so it's interesting that, like, I don't like... if it was still dude lady, like a dude coming in and saving this woman who's been doing it for a long time, but the aspect of she wasn't super competent and way more experienced before he got there.
That's fair,
and thus he was still able to help her.
But what if
is better?
She's the one and he's the catalyst to her. Like she's been the one the whole time, and the Oracle is right. He's not the one,
right?
But he's there because he will make the one.
I like that.
He's the Mentos and the Diet Coke.
But it's more of a, I mean, what you're saying is more of a gender issue than like a love issue.
Yeah.
We're not against the love.
Not
we're just against like men saving women in movies.
And I'm against women being like, I'm awesome. Hey,
here's a
you're
crown.
Cute.
Yeah.
But,
here's a crown.
But we all agree that women should like try to lessen their glow so that men will love them, right?
I'm saying that.
That's
we're on the same page. She pointed at her wedding ring.
Yeah.
Podcast listeners who can't see her pointing.
I'm the single one here. Why isn't it working?
Okay. So we have to pick one, or
we can come back to this just because Neo is Neo. And we kind of have to make him or her the center of the world.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's pick our Trinity.
Cool.
My Trinity was kind of a 1-for-1. Like the Trinity we have now, I kind of picked someone who's the most like that actress was.
Interesting.
Then,
Okay.
so I picked Jamie Alexander.
who is?
She's Sif in the Thor movies. She's the main character in Blind Spot, the NBC TV show.
Yeah,
with all the
she
tattoos.
is very, very the same person.
Yeah, she's absolutely 1-for-1. So if you wanted to make a Trinity who was very much like this original Trinity, that's who you have.
Yeah.
But that's why we're like age still becomes a thing for me, because I was always like, why is this like almost 30-year-old man dealing with these issues right now? You know?
He spends a lot of time with his computer, so...
I guess so.
Yeah, that's the least believable part of The Matrix is that Keanu Reeves is a computer nerd.
Yeah.
Although I don't need computer nerds to all look alike, and there is definitely like...
But maybe don't look like Point Break?
I don't...
Computers on surfboards?
All right. I would watch that movie.
Now, The Matrix.
All right.
Now I'm interested.
Speaking of things that got rebooted, just completely out of the blue, and computers, they rebooted the TV show Reboot, and it bothers the snot out of me because it's not good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not the snot.
There's one part where you can tell how pale Neo is because of, like, it's when the White Rabbit shows up, and that's the one part of the entire movie where he looks like a nerd.
Yeah.
Like,
he does, yeah.
Yeah.
Just, like, can't talk to her.
Yeah. Well, and, like, his shirt's too big, and he's super pale, and, like...
But she's kind of like, hubba, come to the club with me. Like, while she's hugging her boyfriend, and then we never see her again.
And I'm okay with it.
She's a symbol.
I did not recast her.
No, nor did I.
Well, yeah, that's the Alice in Wonderland.
See how far down the rabbit hole goes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How far down the rabbit hole goes. Yeah.
Speaking of, this is The Matrix, and one of the big conservative talking points right now is how, like, I finally took the red pill, and now I see the world for the way it is.
I've been attacked by red pill redditors. If anybody has any,
I'm
Q&A.
so sorry. Because
Q and A's?
What's
If we have Q's and A's?
Yeah. Do you have any?
I have
any
answers.
A's?
Yeah, I have some answers.
What should I do? What should I do?
Guide us,
Lean in.
Meredith.
Okay.
Ooh, I
Gotcha.
like it.
I can do that.
Until she reaches the tipping point, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And then lean out.
So you're an outlier.
Right.
And then you...
But that's part of the reason why I wanted to make this movie a little bit more political, because as it is right now, it could go
Yeah.
either way. And I
Right.
want to be like, no.
Yeah.
Here are the bad parts of the world. We want to keep the good parts of the world.
Yeah.
And I want it to be along my political loop.
Well, yeah, that's the
That's-
funny. The funny part about
yeah.
it now is that like Red Pill is like all of these conservative
That's so crazy.
neo-Nazis and
Neo.
Sorry, you can
That
hear
was what
laughter.
it was the whole time.
That laughter's staying in, Trevor.
but it's essentially like I mean, it's a progressive film made by two trans women. Like, it's not like a
Right.
movie that's propaganda. Anyway,
Yeah,
but I
it's
agree.
amazing what people make into propaganda that they don't realize the full implications of. Wild, right?
Well, because you can use art to anything, just like you can
Yeah.
use faith to anything, just like you can use, anything that
That's
people
it.
want to believe in and love and
Even
are
with
affected
all of
by.
that, we're keeping red, blue pill, right?
Oh yeah, I like red.
Yeah.
Pill, blue
I
pill.
want turquoise pill, purple pill.
Get out.
I want it to be a pina colada.
So
and
who did you two have for Trinity?
I wrote a lot of things because I couldn't decide. I have Tessa Thompson, Kristen Stewart, and Oscar Isaac.
We used Tessa Thompson last episode.
Yeah, I love Tessa Thompson though,
What?
but she was on my mind. Yeah.
What was your last episode? What was she?
Police Academy.
Oh, I've not seen that. Is it good?
Oh, she would be good
Ours
in that.
will be.
Yeah, she deserves to
Yeah.
have some jokes.
Basically, we made her the lead female in the movie and then flipped her with the main guy because they don't do anything. It's better this way.
was
Okay,
recently
well,
reminded she
Kristen
was-
Stewart then, who would be?
I like Kristen Stewart.
She would be good. You can slick her hair back.
You could slick her hair back.
just like
I
Trinity.
thought about her because you could slick her hair back,
Yeah.
literally. My pitch is also someone whose hair you can slick back,
Yeah.
but it's, I think, my only dude pitch,
Mm-hmm.
which is Dev Patel.
Ooh, interesting.
Because he's only done, like, big dramas, and, like, now we can have him in this sci-fi world, but also,
Newsroom
like,
is not. I mean,
It's a
who is-
drama.
but
Who's
he's
Dev
the comedic
Patel?
person.
He is the comedic person in it. What?
Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah, Lion.
Okay.
Lion. He's the Indian guy
He
in
is
Newsroom.
Dreamsville.
Okay.
But, like, you could slick his hair back, and I feel like you could kind of, like, femme him up a little bit and make him a little more androgynous, even though, but, like, he is very dude, but also he has kind of, like, beautiful features.
What I'm hearing is that he's a good-looking person. Is he tall?
Because I like good-looking
is
people.
his
He
face
is
on these
tall.
M&Ms?
Yeah, his face is on. It's me, my fiance, and Dev Patel.
Can I come to that wedding?
Yeah, we can all come to the wedding.
Only if Dev Patel is there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna look him up and see if he's who I think he is.
Okay, great. But yeah, I liked him.
So you wanted to gender flip both Neo and Trinity.
Yeah.
You didn't necessarily want to have girl, guy.
Well, I didn't mean to go heteronormative with it, but I did.
Okay.
I just thought of
That's
Dev
fine.
Patel, and I was like, I want him to do something, and then I was like, oh, he would be a great Trinity. And,
Who's your Neo?
Zoe Kravitz.
Oh, Kravitz.
See, I think Dev Patel would actually make a more interesting cipher.
But my pitch for Cypher, I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I am too. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'm all for.
But
girl and girl, though.
he's like more funny. But he would have to act, is what you're saying.
What?
He would like have to be an actor.
He is. He's a
who can
he's a
do
beautiful,
multiple
serious
things.
actor.
Does he have an Oscar?
I think he's been nominated multiple times,
Yeah,
but I don't
he's
think he
definitely
has one.
Been nominated.
Right. But yeah, he's like I just feel like Trinity has a lot of depth that could
Yeah.
happen, especially if it's the only male character. And it's like, how do we create this? I'm just going to keep pushing hard.
That's fine. I'm
I
good with
love
that.
Dev Patel. I just think this. I mean, I know that you're going to be making a lot of these characters women, but I think it'd be hard pressed to take the most female character who's currently in the movie and make it male.
Right. Look,
Yeah.
I'm here to push boundaries, Sam.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't
but-
have a problem
me
with
on
it. It's
your
just she's just so she's so stoic. So
Yeah.
that it's just it's a weird role.
But she's
Yeah.
also soft. And that's why I thought it would be
Yeah.
interesting because it would bring up all of the more masculine qualities that Trinity already has, but also show the softer qualities. Because she's very female. She's very feminine in a strong way.
And
Yeah.
that's why I think she should stay female. I would be more inclined to like, how many female role models are there in this movie to begin with? One.
Yeah. Well, there's one who dies gloriously
Mm,
in a way where she has no agency and has only said like 3 things.
Yeah.
right.
Her, I made a dude.
Yeah.
I
Wait, who was your
flipped-
Trinity?
Jamie Alexander.
Right.
Who, again, 1 for 1.
Yeah. It's just, I don't want to say this about her as a person, but she's a little boring. And Trinity's already a little bit boring. Like, I would want it to be just, like, a little bit more.
She can keep all her tattoos, but that's basically what she does in Blind Spot.
Yeah.
And she's not interesting in Blind Spot.
I think it would be fun if Trinity had, like, any personality. Which is why I said Oscar Isaac, because he's just so in love with everybody.
Oscar Isaac's interesting.
Well, we are going to have to move a little bit faster because I think we've got maybe 15 minutes left in the booth.
Holy
Great.
cow. All right.
Cool.
So I guess let's put a pin in Trinity as well. Who do you
Okay.
guys have for Morpheus?
Jodie Foster.
I'm okay with that.
Allison Janney.
I'm okay.
Yes.
I was thinking about Allison Janney too. The
Yeah.
person I picked was another kind of 1 for 1. I picked Henry Simmons, who's Mac on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, cool.
Just big guy, kind of like. But the reason why I picked him is because on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he's a big guy, but he doesn't fight. He's an engineer. He fights when he needs to, but the basic idea is that, like, no, he's a big guy, but he fixes the computers.
Right.
And I found that interesting. And I kind of like the idea that that's what Morpheus is. Like, he's big because he needs to be, because he lives in a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Yeah.
But he would prefer not to fight. That said, Allison Janney's real good.
Yeah,
I mean,
Allison
she would
Janney
have
a
to
lot.
do a lot of kung fu, like more than she usually does, but I would want to see that.
Done.
Done.
Let's
I'm
make it
in.
Allison Janney.
I think let's.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
Okay. Then who do we have as our Agent Smith?
I put Kate Blanchett.
I put Amanda Seyfried.
Oh, why can't I get a face to that name?
Mean Girls.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because in my brain I was like, what would AI choose to look like?
Yeah.
And it's like a beautiful blonde, but like kind of like strange beautiful.
But this is the AI that got sent by the other AI.
right.
So
It's an ideal in my brain.
here's my pitch for Agent Smith, and
Ready.
stay with me on this. I picked an actor named Ross Marquand, who
I think I know who that is.
he's been on Walking Dead, but I picked him because in the new Infinity War movie,
Uh-huh.
he plays the part Hugo Weaving didn't come back to play.
Oh, right. Right.
And I think that's funny.
That's a good reason to do
Yeah,
something.
I like that.
And I kind of like the idea of like him kind of playing, like, it's a computer program. A computer program always looks the same. So you get the person who looks like the same thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think that's pretty funny.
My other pitch for that was because there's Agent Smith and Agent Jones who look essentially identical.
Right.
It would be funny if it was Kristen Stewart and Ellen Page.
I have Ellen Page for someone else.
Yeah.
I like those people, but I want them to be a little bit more intimidating. Since, like, theoretically they're supposed to be
they are
representing
small.
the villains and the...
But I think what's so great about Agent Smith is that, like, he's not intimidating. He's like a big friggin' nerd.
Yeah.
No, just me?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, yeah, he's he's agenty.
Right, he's agenty. But then when he, like, starts moving, you're like, oh, this guy is terrifying.
Yeah.
And I love that reveal.
With like a robotic kind of. I love
So my Amanda
It's so
Seyfried
good.
pitch is because, like, Veronica Mars, Amanda Seyfried, was really
Yeah.
dark and twisted. And we haven't really seen that from her in a while, but she has it.
Isn't
and
that who she... She did that recently, but I didn't watch the movie, so I can't help you. For
I
thi-
like that.
for thi-
I still like Kate Blanchett better because she would be such a terrifying interrogator.
she would.
I also just used Cate Blanchett in the last episode.
Wow.
I should
She
listen
was
to your
really good.
podcast. She's great. She's great.
I made
You
Cate
just
Blanchett...
copied the last podcast and wrote down all the same names.
yeah. Is that a problem?
I have no problem with it, especially because you're picking the people I picked.
The pickle. You picked the pickle.
the pickle.
Okay.
I
Who else do we have?
This one I do kind of want to go with Ross Marquand, because if we're picking someone to represent kind of like the generic
Yeah,
corporate
sure.
enforcer,
I think that's funny.
that one I think is more interesting. For the Oracle, I picked Oprah.
Whoa.
I wrote down Oprah too. I also wrote
did
down
you really?
Bill Murray.
Ah,
Interesting.
That's a strong choice.
Yeah.
If we pick Bill Murray, though, this is a comedy.
I don't know. I feel like you could do. It would be
Yeah.
weird.
Straight
It
Bill
would
Murray.
certainly be weird.
Oracle's funny in the original.
She is
She is.
funny.
She's
yeah, she's
great.
bits.
Did you guys see St. Vincent?
No.
That's a drama that Bill Murray's in, and he's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good.
With Melissa McCarthy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're both great. The only thing is that, like, he's kind of playing Bill Murray.
Yeah.
So would he be able to do it as not Bill
I
Murray?
think he could. I don't think it's a problem if it's Bill Murray. I don't know. I think it would be
I think we should
funny.
cast an unknown teen. Give
An
someone a
unknown
chance.
teen
Teen.
Yeah.
to play the wise old Oracle.
I think that's funny. I also picked Selma Hayek.
But
I said Selma Hayek.
I'd be more tempted by Selma Hayek because Selma Hayek's awesome.
Selma Hayek is awesome.
Yeah, she'd be great.
I just feel like reboots are opportunities to do the opposite of everything.
It's great.
All right, so let's say we're trying to decide between Oprah and Selma Hayek.
Okay, great.
Angela, be the decider.
Selma Hayek.
Selma Hayek.
Oprah's so obvious.
I know.
Right.
It's such an obvious choice.
Oh,
I
Salma Hayek
know,
would be
that's why I
so
picked her.
comforting.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, so let's talk about Cypher.
Yeah.
You both were most excited about your Cypher, so I'm going to say
Should
mine
we
and
say
get
it
him
at
out
the
of the
same
way.
time? Okay.
Mine is Stephen Yeun, who's in The Walking Dead. He does a lot of voiceover stuff.
Cool.
He's
Okay.
great. He's awesome, but I'm less excited about this than I think you guys are.
I have so many. So
Do you want to pick
Pick
your
your
favorite
favorite.
one and we'll say it at the same time?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Kristen
McKinnon.
Ritter.
Oh. Yeah, Kristen Ritter's really good.
I
would also lean towards Kristen Ritter.
I mean,
Yeah,
Kristen
really
Ritter
good.
is so dynamic, and I love.
Again, because I use Kate McKinnon all the time.
She's great.
She's so good.
You need to not have me on your podcast because you and I are the same person, and it's
A
very
little bit.
uncomfortable. I also put Neil Casey because that would be like the obvious one-to-one to me.
Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
obvious one. I like that.
Yeah.
But I think Kristen Ritter is more interesting because we
Yeah.
suspect Cypher from the moment he appears.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's more interesting if it's a flip. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
here's a different thing that's happening.
Well, and she could definitely like monologue on the evils of the
Oh
world.
my God.
Oh,
And she
yeah.
could so like be like, I love you, Dev Patel. Why didn't you love me back? I'm going back in the Matrix. I'm Kristen Ritter.
Okay.
We all agree on Kristen Ritter.
Yes.
Great.
I
Perfect.
win again.
Who do you guys have for Tank and Dozer?
I didn't have strong choices with these because I like that I don't really know these people.
I feel like you know Tank. I mean, I picked Ellen Page for Tank, who you already talked about, because I feel like.
Oh yeah, it's basically her role in Inception.
Right.
A
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, kind of. Oh, well, most. But, like, I like that he's someone with a lot of depth and a lot of emotion that you're clinging on to, especially when we have all these characters that are kind of manipulative and, you know, controlling.
My casting for both Tank and Dozer are. They're like the two black people. Them and Morpheus.
Yeah.
And the Oracle, actually. But one of the things that everyone kind of makes fun of The Matrix and its subsequent sequels is you have this world and, like, most of your main characters are white, and then you go to Zion and it's all black people.
Mm-hmm.
But what I find interesting about the concept of Zion, it's all these people who've escaped from the Matrix, but it's people from all over the world. So it's got to
Right.
be like a melting pot of everything. So I kind of wanted to cast people who are mixes of
Yeah.
races or things. So the two, I don't know. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
and so
that's
I
fine.
think it's more interesting if, like, because the siblings you get in Zion aren't necessarily real life
Totally.
siblings. It's just the people, like, there are 5 children in this entire world right now. You're all
Yeah.
siblings.
Yeah. No, I love that.
So for Tank, I had Dave Bautista. And for Dozer, I had Elodie Young.
I don't know who either of those people are.
Dave Bautista is, have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's the one with the red tattoos and the knives.
Oh.
Okay.
And Elodie Young plays Elektra in the Daredevil Netflix
Oh.
series.
Yeah.
And she was in The Hitman's Bodyguard too, but her character's not very good. It's not her fault. It's just written poorly. I'm going to cough again. Excuse me.
Ugh, I'm disgusted by this.
So
I can't believe I'm invited here and then he coughs.
But she plays Elektra, so, like, she's someone who knows how to fight. Like, she grew up in a world and is toughened and can
Yeah.
be interesting. And I thought that those two together kind of is a cool comparison
I-
of the different sorts of
I
people
vote
in the
for your
world.
people because I really like the thought behind, like, who is living in this world that is born into this world.
Yeah.
I like that very much.
I like Ellen Page, and I said Karan Soni. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
He was in Other Space, and he was the delivery
Who was he in
driver.
Other Space?
He was the guy, right?
Oh, yeah. We used him 2 episodes ago.
Okay. Well, never mind.
Stop it right now.
I'm leaving.
I'm
He's,
talking
he's
to
the
two
driver
innocent
in
people.
Deadpool.
in
He's the taxi driver in Deadpool?
Deadpool and in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the Ghostbusters all-female reboot because it was basically an Other Space reunion.
Yeah.
Mm.
But as the driver of the, because I like that he doesn't seem like he's going to come back and save them, which Tank does
Right.
in the
Right.
movie. Like that he doesn't seem strong,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not really a fighter. I think
Let's
Yeah.
let's have it be
What is
him
strength?
and Elodie Young.
great.
Say his name again.
Karan Soni. I'm like 90% sure that's how. Yeah.
And Elodie Young. Great.
Yeah.
So the two of them. Wonderful. So then we have APOC and Switch. APOC and Switch, I gender flipped both of them. So Switch was originally the blonde lady who dies with no agency, and she says, "Not like this,
Yeah.
not like that." Which I was thinking about this earlier today.
Holland.
Why does she wear white?
It's not important because she's bleached hair. It's fine.
Because she's a lesbian and everyone else is straight.
Oh no, I thought she was dating APOC.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Fair enough. You sure?
No.
Fair enough.
We had 5 more minutes, right?
If I need to pay Trevor more money, I will pay Trevor more money.
I had Riz Ahmed and Gwendolyn Christie.
Tell me who they are.
Riz Ahmed is he's in Rogue One. He's the rebel spy that gets away, or the whatever guy that gets away.
Okay.
And Gwendolyn Christie is Phasma. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both great.
She just seems like she could have short hair and wear white.
Yeah, like I could.
And also, she should be in every movie.
Yeah, we've not in the last episode. We've definitely used her before because she's amazing.
I feel like I shouldn't even be.
No, you're doing
I
amazing
agree.
choices, and you're further
I'm
reinforcing
just not gonna talk anymore.
my good ideas, and I like it. I had for Switch, I had Dave Anders, who's Blaine in iZombie. He's a
Yes.
skinny dude with bleach blonde hair, so that's why I picked him.
Oh,
Alias.
sure.
And then I had Natalia Cordova Buckley, who's Yo-Yo in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for APOC. Just
This is
because
just an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. movie?
I picked 2 people.
What's his name from iZombie would be a really good cipher, although a very expected choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like him as Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I picked a weird person, so I don't even want to.
Tell us all about them.
No, I mean, they're not that weird, but I picked Kim Engelbrecht for Switch, who's like this beautiful, like could not wear blonde hair at all person from The Flash. And she's like the evil person's like wife right now. The Thinker's wife. And
I have to get caught up on the Flash.
know,
I'm not
sorry.
looking forward to it. She's such an interesting character, and then they just keep neutering her.
right, so I kind of, but
you
she
mean
can
The
clearly
Flash?
act.
No,
Flash.
the wife.
The wife.
You mean
The
like
what?
every female character in
Right.
The Flash?
Yeah.
But like I found her really interesting, so I would want to see more from her. And then APOC like had no lines. I was kind of like, I mean, I don't know what.
I think we should make Sam do it.
Oh yeah, Sam should do it. I was just like, can I put some like big name person in this role?
Right?
One of my
problem.
favorite
That's
things
how
to
I
do
felt.
is when we were recasting Clue, we made The Rock the chef because he says one thing and then immediately dies.
I thought about
like
putting
that.
The Rock in one of these tiny.
And I
roles.
just think that it's super
Can we
funny.
just say The Rock is APOC then?
Yeah, sounds
okay.
great.
So do we want to have The Rock and Dave Anders? Or
Sounds
no, the Sapphire Knight.
Gwendolyn Christie.
Thank you.
Sorry, I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Gwendolyn Christie. Let's do The Rock and Gwendolyn Christie.
Sounds good.
And just like they're the 2 enforcers.
They're giant and they die.
How are they computer hackers? Those 2 specifically.
I love them.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're computer hackers because anyone can be a computer hacker if they dream hard enough.
Yeah.
I like it more if they were woken up because everyone else was super skinny and they're like, we need some muscle. Or I have another pitch.
Okay.
The Rock and Gwendolyn are who they look like when they're in the Matrix.
Uh-huh.
But when they're outside the Matrix...
They're Jack Black and
and Elizabeth Olsen.
yeah.
Everybody,
like that.
What if everybody in this movie is played by Elizabeth Olsen?
But something like that. Like, I think that's fun for those 2 because we kind of talked a little bit about
it's
how...
like a little bit of Jumanji.
Well, Jumanji, yeah.
Yeah.
Little bit of San Junipero, a little bit
In
of
my
Jumanji.
life, a little bit of Jumanji.
But who do we want them to be that like they're outside people then?
You and me.
Done.
Okay.
But
I'm
no,
not in
but
this
no,
movie?
actually. But no, actually, like who do we want to have it? Like that could be our Ellen Page and like our smaller petite people in the real world then become jacked inside. Like that would be a good
What
place.
if they're children? Unknown teens.
So you want to murder children?
Oh.
Yes.
No. But like who else would be creating this like giant false view of who they are? Because all the adults are pretty confident in who they are, but these kids are...
What
Well, yeah,
what was
'cause
the name
then
of your
why
actor
would-
from Archie?
Oh, Cole
Cole
Sprouse.
Sprouse.
Let's make it Cole Sprouse.
Great, I'm in.
He's both of them.
He's both of them. Oh, let's make it the twins who didn't invent Facebook.
No, you could make it Cole Sprouse and his twin brother.
Oh, right. He
Does
actually
Cole
has
Sprouse have a twin brother?
Yeah, they had an amazing Disney Channel TV show about a hotel they both lived in.
The
Wait,
sweet
he's Zach and Cody?
Oh, yeah.
That guy with the black hair in
grew up-
Archie
He grew up good.
is either Zach or Cody?
One of
I
the
presume
two.
that's weird.
I
That's
think
weird
it's
for
Cody.
me.
I think it's Cody.
Okay, now we have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
So the other Sprouse.
Dill.
And I like the idea that one of them becomes the Rock and one of them becomes.
Yeah.
When I like
That's
That's
great.
amazing.
that is kind of amazing. So here is the person who I had the hardest time recasting.
Mouse.
Mouse.
I had no problem.
Yeah?
Interesting.
Yeah, I put Latita Wright.
I don't know who that is.
She is Suri from Black Panther.
Mm.
As like a problematic nerd would be hilarious.
I put Karen Gillan.
Oh.
Karen Gillan's really good.
I also put Neil Casey for this one because it would be a good Neil Casey role.
I don't know
Elizabeth
who's Neil Casey.
He's the bad guy from Ghostbusters.
He's so
Also,
good.
just a brilliant comedian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's so great.
Yeah.
I picked Mouse. Like, but the reason why I had trouble
You
with
picked
Mouse.
a mouse? A
No.
live mouse?
I picked Bill Skarsgård.
Ooh.
Which one's Bill?
He was the one who played It.
Oh, okay.
He's the younger, skinny kid. But the reason I picked him is because Mouse is kind of like he's the youngest one,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kind of like he's not a kid, but he's obviously an adult, but like a super young adult, like super
Yeah.
naive,
Mm.
and that's why it's like the saddest when he dies. He's like, oh, guns, and so I wanted to pick someone kind of young-ish,
Like Latita Wright.
like Latita Wright. If I
Hadn't cast her last week.
not last week, but recently, I like her a lot. Like
Yeah.
I would pick her immediately. So
Yeah.
like I think we should go with her.
Yeah, because she's young. And
Yep.
I like the idea of her being like
Everyone was so excited about Karen Gillan. Do I need to fight for my people? She's
I-
redheaded. She's from another country.
I love Karen Gillan. I don't think she can portray the innocence that I kind
I
of
think
think
she
we
could,
need
but-
for someone for Mouse. She does a really good job of doing that in
Doctor
Jumanji.
Oh, Jumanji. Jumanji.
What do we make the Matrix Jumanji?
Mm.
Maybe Jumanji is a reboot of the Matrix.
Jumanji.
Here's the thing about the new Jumanji movie. I really liked it, and there I
Jumanji.
said it.
I forgot about your sketch.
Oh, I wrote a sketch about Jumanji, guys.
That's true. I remember. It was great. So that takes care of everyone except our big two. Who's our Neo for this group, and who's our Trinity for this group?
Who are our top thoughts right now, for real?
Well, who was your... Let's walk through who our number one choices were. My Neo was Santino Fontana.
Right.
Your Neo was...
It was Zoe Kravitz.
And your Neo was...
I have too many. I mean, Elizabeth
Pick your favorite.
Olsen. I think Mackenzie Davis. I
Mackenzie
think Mackenzie
Davis.
Davis would legitimately be a great Neo.
Remind me who Mackenzie Davis is.
She is the girl from San Junipero.
That's right. What do you think, Meredith?
I mean, I love both of those actors, honestly.
Let's go with San Junipero.
San Junipero. Cool.
Mackenzie
I'm into
Davis.
it.
Mackenzie Davis.
We could just call her San Junipero, right?
I think she would love that.
That's what actors like.
Yeah.
So that brings us to our Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but I don't think it should be Dev Patel.
All right, I'll just have to cast him in my dreams.
It sounds like that was kind of already going to happen.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I think it should be Kristen Stewart.
Wait, what was yours again, Sam?
Jamie Alexander. Sif from Thor and a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
I think that one.
Kristen Stewart.
No, I think Sam's.
Jamie Alexander.
Jamie Alexander.
Great, works for me.
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to see this movie.
So that leaves us with two things. Unless, did you, either of you have
fine.
any more cast?
I had the woman in red. I said Ariana Grande.
Ooh.
Done. Woman in Red,
Done.
Ariana Grande.
Oh, yeah, Spoon Boy. That was the other one, but I had nobody for it.
Oh, I was thinking that all the children should be old people.
That's good.
I think that's really good. And
it's
it's about old
something-
people like trying to bend spoons. It's funny.
They make a whole point about how they like to get people out young so that their brains aren't as broken by having to deal with reality, but sure.
But we're rebooting it. When else is your brain as young as when you're a child?
It's not. That's why they're children.
All right, look, I tried. I swung and I missed.
We need a writer and a director and or a writer-director.
Great. The
Okay.
Wachowskis.
No.
Okay, who do you want to do first, writer or director?
Let's start with writer.
Cool. I put Charlie Brooker, who I had to look up, who's the one who did Playtest in Black Mirror, which is like all about video games and living inside a simulation. And I think it was done like with humor and with darkness, and it was beautiful.
Okay.
It's cool. All I have is the Wachowskis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I had Alex Garland, who wrote Annihilation.
Mm,
Oh,
And
interesting.
I leaned towards kind of looking up someone from Black Mirror, but the reason I didn't is because this is close enough to a Black Mirror episode already.
Right.
And I feel like if that sort of person had that much to say about this sort of world, they would have already said it in a Black Mirror episode, as opposed to Alex Garland and the person I picked for my director. I picked them because they've done things near here. Like, they live in a sci-fi world. That's kind of their bread and butter, but they've never done this sort of story. And especially because this has been in the world for almost 20 years, they must have an idea of what they want to do for this. That's why I wanted to pick
how
Alex Garland.
passionately you argue for your
It's
people.
great. I think Michael Bay should direct it.
No, absolutely not.
I'm throwing my weight behind Michael Bay.
You've been
two against
outvoted.
one.
No, I have a strong opinion about director. I pick John M. Chu, who directed Step Up 3D.
Oh,
And
wow.
I am like not gonna lie, I'm really obsessed with the director. He like does very interesting things with like how movement like interacts with the camera, which is why he does a bunch of dance stuff. And I think that that's an interesting way to interpret all the stuff we were talking about earlier in how to modernize the technological aspects.
Yeah,
That's
because
a
the
fantastic
cinematography
idea.
in this movie is really good.
Yeah.
Like
It
the
is.
symbolism and the visual stuff is really interesting. So I like that because
I like
it's
that a
another
lot.
approach to that.
The one caveat is I would say his name again?
John M. Chu.
I would make John M. Chu the choreographer for the movie. Like the movement director as opposed to like the cinematography director.
You have to see Step Up 3D though.
I don't.
It's really good. Look, I understand I'm different than the two of you.
I'm happy. I'm really happy. Who is your director?
Dennis Villanueva.
Oh, what did he do?
Arrival and Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, I also thought of Arrival guy. But
But
No.
Step Up 3D just spoke to you. It's like,
did,
what
man.
is it about Step Up 3D that just screams The Matrix?
look, I can tell you other things that he did that were
that would
all
be great.
Right.
Please do.
other dance things. But
But here's the thing. I agree with your concept. Like the
Yeah.
whole like doing The Matrix, bullet time. I think that is something that could be benefited by someone who actually has a background in movement. I do think your idea is a good one.
But the reason I abandoned the Arrival idea, which I also thought of because I think that's a very good relationship to think of, is because he grounds things. Also, he's been able to reboot things in this world before, in a sci-fi world, and like did awesome stuff with it. But like, if we want the Matrix to be distinctly different in perspective, you have to bring in someone with a different
'cause,
perspective than what's been done.
The Matrix is different than other sci-fi movies. There have been like a million movies that talk about the world being a simulation since The Matrix came out, but
Yeah.
it still stands apart from that because it is, visually and ideologically different.
It
And
does,
I think
but
it
I
should
do
be a
think we need a
musical.
sci-fi director.
Step Up 3D. I don't know if I'm using this mic right.
Yeah, I'm with Meredith on this one.
Hell yeah. John M. Chu, man. Just look out for him.
Just look out for him.
I mean, I've been looking out for him for like 6 years. He's
Frank
great.
Oz.
I love him.
What if everyone is a puppet?
Oh, yeah. Into it.
Let me
Why
talk
would
about
you-
all the different times I've recommended Frank Oz.
I really like that we started this podcast and you invited both of us like we weren't going to bully you the whole time.
That was really funny of you.
Look. Mistakes were made.
Yeah.
We're not picking John M. Chu.
That's
I mean,
fine.
look, John
Do
M.
your-
Chu
do your
is a
thing, do your
wonderful
thing, it's okay.
choreographer. I
It's
think
your
that's
po-
great.
It's your podcast.
It's your
If you
podcast, but-
both think it should be John M. Chu, we're going to have to pick John
Yeah,
M. Chu.
because you
if
do
I'm
work with numbers.
overruled.
Yeah, you work with numbers, so you know that 2 is more than 1.
I'm
I
upset
still
right now.
think it should be the Wachowskis.
I gave you your writer. Are we really making this movie?
Yeah.
The stakes seem really high for Sam.
All right, look.
Do your Sam. I don't want you to be upset. I'm gonna vote with you.
No,
Because
it's fine.
Wait, I'll vote for Sam to direct this movie.
Yeah.
Is that on the table?
I
Sam-
can't handle it.
I vote for Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor seems very capable.
Trevor could do it.
He laughed at my one joke. I'm all for Trevor.
Yours is the one joke that actually caused him to break, so we can hear on the show. Let's do a walkthrough of who we've got.
Okay.
So for Neo, we have Mackenzie Davis. For
Nice.
Trinity, we have Jamie Alexander. For Morpheus, we have Allison Janney, which
Yeah.
I just want to see Allison Janney in a fight scene.
Hell
That's
yeah.
so
So-
wrong.
No,
I
it's
want
so
that
right.
so much.
I want
It'd
it
be
so
so
much.
And then for Agent Smith, we have Ross Marquand. For the Oracle, we have Selma Hayek. For Cypher, we have Kristen Ritter. For Tank, we have Karen Sony. For Dozer, we have Elodie Young. For APOC, we have the other Sprouse. For Switch, we have
His
Cole
name is
Sprouse.
Dylan. His name is
Right, Dylan.
Sure. It's not important. He's the other Sprouse. For Mouse, we have Letitia Wright. Latita
Latita, right?
Latita Wright. But for APOC and Switch, when they're inside the Matrix, they're The Rock and Gwendolyn
Christy.
Christie. Thank you. And then the woman in red is Ariana Grande.
Yes.
and then just a bunch of twins and triplets to play the rest of the extras in that scene because I love it.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many like weird little things. Like everyone and all the extras in that are twins, and then everything when you're in the Matrix is tinted green because it's green on the screen.
Yeah.
For our writer, we have Alex Garland, and our director
Yeah, say it out loud.
is John M. Chu.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Would you guys watch this movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would watch the crap out of this movie. John M. Chu's directing. I'm watching this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do want to see it.
Yeah. Now I've sold you on it, right? You started off, you're like, I don't know how I feel about this, and
Yeah.
So let's start with Meredith. Meredith, what have you got to plug that you'd like people to follow you on the internet, social medias? What things
You've got
are
these new
going on in
M&Ms
your
with your
life?
face on.
Yeah,
Tell
got
us
these
about where
M&Ms
we
with
can
my
get
face
some of
on
these
'em.
sweet M&Ms.
If you wanted to come to my bridal shower 2 weeks ago, you can get your own M&Ms with my face. I'm on the Twitter at @big_mare because I didn't know underscores weren't hip or something.
You're great.
Yeah, great.
One R or two?
Hmm?
1 R or
One
two?
R.
So
M-E-R?
BIG
underscore.
_MER.
That's it.
I'm going to be following that.
Follow that.
Mhm.
I think that's all I have to pitch. Pitch? Say about myself?
That's great.
Thank
great.
you. Oh, I'm getting married, so you can wish me luck. Go on my registry.
Where are you registered?
Yeah. Buy me gifts, man.
All right, great. Angela, tell us about your life. Where do you want people to follow you? Tell us about your amazing podcast.
I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Angela M. Weber. I have a podcast called Gosh Darn Fiasco. I have a web series called Catty Bees. And I feel like, I have a band called the Double Clicks. I don't
they're
care.
amazing.
Just look at all of those things and be impressed with me.
And unfortunately, this is going up the Monday after, but you have a show that you host at...
Yeah, we have a monthly show every last Friday of the month at Geeky Teas in Burbank. Sam's been to it.
I have. It's great. I can't be there this time because I'll be out of town. And I'm really sad about it because it's an awesome show at an amazing location, and there's cats.
There are cats and music and comedy and songs.
Yeah.
Games and songs. Music and songs, both of them.
I will definitely be attending this.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it before.
If you're interested in finding out more about me, you can follow me on Twitter at Sam Gasch, SAMGASCH. You can follow the podcast on Twitter or Facebook. It's just at Ideal Remake. And if you are interested in finding a copy of the movie I wrote, if you go to tournamentmovie.com, you can now purchase it for streaming or on Blu-ray. And you can watch this movie that I wrote that got me into the Writers Guild. And it's super great.
Oh, you're very talented. I'm very excited to see you.
Well, I did one thing.
Just take the compliments there.
No, you can't make me. Great. So thank you both very much for being guests in this
Of course.
dance-filled episode of Ideal Remake.
You're so mad.
I'm
I can't
so
believe I made
mad.
it happen.
But
This
it's
is the best day
it's
of my
happened.
life.
It's real. Thank you all very much for listening. And remember, we know Kung Fu.